Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Yvonne and you're on Ginger Chick Rehab, where I love to take secondhand pre-loved items and share the process with you all of what I do to these items to give them new life. So in today's video, this is kind of a junkin video. So you know when you're out and about, estate sales, auctions, yard sales, there's always like a trash pick pile. And they're usually a little bit worse for wear. You kind of have to see the beauty underneath all the gunk. And I'm always happy that it never went to the burn pile. So in today's video, I'm showing you how to take junk salvaged and make it into beautiful home decor. So there's just those pieces, these salvaged pieces that so many people, like I do, love salvaged pieces. But these aren't the best salvage pieces. It's not something that I would put in my retail booth and people would be like, oh, that's beautiful. I want to buy that. Not in this state, that's for sure. So they have lots of character. They have lots of different shapes and designs. And definitely these are some porch salvage, but they're just ho-hum. And I really don't know the story. I don't know what they came off from. I have no idea. All I know is I thought they were beautiful and I could see the beauty underneath. Now this one is missing some type of a piece at the side, and I'm not going to shorten the top. I'm not going to disturb that. I'm going to leave that character. But I do got to take this nail out. And if I can't get it hammered, I'm just going to have to snip it off. So a lot of these are salvage finds that I got at auctions for minimal dollar amount because nobody could see the beauty. Just like this one, look at, now you would think, oh, that's a whole bunch of dirt coming off it. No, it's the finish. It's the stain. The top coat is just, I can just brush it right off. Is that not crazy? And I'm kind of liking on the wood, so I'm going to take my orbital sander. I have some 150 sandpaper, and I'm going to see if we can get more of this stain and top coat removed. I am amazed that I was able to remove the top coat just by sanding the stain. I wasn't going to go in and get into that detail because I like that darkness in the detail of making it pop. So just got to dust it off, and now I'm going to go ahead and just get it wiped off, clean it up with some Dawn dish soap and some hot water. Now, not everything has to be painted to bring out its beauty. It is gorgeous. So all I'm going to do, this wood is dry. It needs a drink. So I'm going to go ahead and use hemp oil, just the natural clear, to refreshen and bring back to life this wood. So if you've not used hemp oil, you just rub it on, let it soak in for 20 minutes, and then wipe off the excess. But gorgeous. Oh, my heart is so happy with this piece. And since this piece will probably be hanging on somebody's wall, I'm just going to add a simple hanging system. Now next up I have the porch salvage pieces, and I'd like to actually make them blue. I know you would think white chippy, but not all the time are salvage pieces white. So I'm going to mix ocean and flower sack together, more flower sack than ocean, just to make a nice, fun, subtle blue color. So I'm using Sweet Pickens milk paint. And if you've not used Sweet Pickens milk paint before, it's a powder paint, so you have to mix it with water. So equal parts powder to equal parts water. You stir it for 2 minutes, and then you set it off the side and let it thicken up anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes. A lot of times these salvage pieces, the wood is dry. So if I would put the paint right on top of this, it would just soak in. I wouldn't get much character with my paint. And that's the whole point of using Sweet Pickens milk paint, is it crackles, crazes, chips if helped along a little bit. So all I'm going to do is I just have a candle, just a votive, and I'm just going to rub it all over this salvaged piece. Now I have this piece and it has a crack. Character, I call that character. But we're going to do the same thing. Look at, I mean, there's nothing exciting about this paint job on these two pieces by any means. This one actually looks like it might have been spray painted at one point. But there again, I don't want complete coverage. I want it to look like it has been out in the weather and that it has just been sawed off and taken as a salvaged piece. So the wax will help. Wherever I put the wax, the paint usually won't stick. I know with the true salvage piece, these parts would not be painted, but it was already painted anyway, so I'm going to cover it up and make it all match to make it into beautiful home decor. It was kind of nice. I felt like one coat was plenty. So now I'm going to go back in with my Orbital sander, try to distress any of the flat edges. Wherever it's going to chip off, it's going to chip off. You're going to see that underlying color. That's really what's going to give it that true salvaged look. With it being this shape, you can't really get the orbital sander in everywhere, so I have to go back in and hand sand. I like to get those detailed sharp edges, and then wherever it will chip off, I'll just let it chip off. The thing about using milk paint is you do need to seal it in with something. And then here's where the fun begins. So you can just use a clear wax like this, or you can use, like I'm going to be using some antiquing wax to give it that little bit of dirt look. So I'm going to start off with the antiquing wax, and then rub it in with the clear wax, and that'll really give it that age that you're looking for. So you can call me crazy, but I bought a whole bunch at an auction, like 4 sections of railing that had these beautiful handmade pieces in them. So, but they're all unfinished, so none of them are painted. I have a few in my booth that I left natural. I think I've sold one, so now I know I need to paint them. So and it was a barn find. Somebody taken a railing down, made a railing for something, I don't know, but these pieces are amazing. So we're gonna go ahead and get them cleaned up. They're a little bit on the rough side, so I'm gonna need to sand them just a wee bit. And I'll just get them cleaned up with some Dawn dish soap and some hot water. And whatever I do to these, I think, I don't know if it was 4 or 5 sections. I'm pretty sure Chris looked at me like, what? But I got them all for $2, y'all. So any profit is a profit. The one I already sold for $12 natural in my booth already paid quite a few times for these. So, but they are such cool pieces. So it's worth spending the time cleaning them up and painting them. You know, there's always that faithful, even though it's not a picket fence, it was some type of a railing. We got to go for some white chippy. That's just how some of these should be anyway. I got plenty, so I can do a whole rainbow of colors. But we're going to start off with flour sack to get the first set painted up. There again, this wood is really dry, so if I just put that flour sack on there, I wouldn't get any chippy offness. I might get crackling and crazy, so I'm going to go ahead and do the wax on top of it so it doesn't just all soak in. So it just so happens that I think I have plenty of the ocean flour sack mixture left that I can do 3 more of these pieces. I really do like this soft blue. It's almost like a smoky blue gray, just a nice subtle blue. I am going to paint both sides of these. It was a railing, kind of like, you know, the picket fence. You know that both sides would be painted. That both sides are dry. I'm going to take my orbital sander and I'm just going to go to town. I've got 220 sandpaper. I don't want to take all the paint off, but whatever's going to chip off that sharp edge, all the detail, I'm just going to let that come through by sanding it. Now for these blue ones, I'm going to do that same as I did earlier because I really liked how that just gave it a hint of age to it without darkening that blue paint up too awful much. So a little bit of the antiquing wax, and then I'll rub it in with the clear wax. So there's some beautiful chippiness. Oh, look at that. So same thing, I'll go take the orbital sander. Whatever's going to chip off is going to chip off. It's supposed to look like aged pieces. Oh my goodness, I love how this one, especially, I mean, I like how the blue turned out, but there's just something about that white that always will have my heart. But I do not want to change this color whatsoever, so I'm just sealing it in with the clear wax. So if I would have had to guess, I guess this piece might have came off like a dresser, some type of table, something. It still has the pegs on it, and I'm glad that they didn't just burn it because just the shape of it, it has so much character. So it's really kind of easy to remove the, I don't want to pull the pegs out because I don't want to leave a hole. I just want to go ahead and cut them flush using my Japanese saw. Did I buy it with a mystery glue? Yep, I did. You know, you do really a lot of times you got to look past that. Like, okay, either I can clean it up if it comes off, or I can sand it off, or I can paint over it. So you just you have to look above and beyond sometimes what is underneath it all. Well, it didn't really wash off very much. So we'll go ahead and take some 80 grit sandpaper and I will see how much of it we can get sanded off. And plus, I want to get into scuff sanding the paint that's on there. And not only will I take the time to scuff sand the front, but I'm going to see if I can get these drip marks, clean up this back. I know it's always the back of the piece, but that's just how I am. I'm pretty sure with 80 grit I can sand it down, and then where I trimmed off, tried to cut the little pegs off flush, I want to make sure that they are flush by sanding them smooth. I always try my best to do the most with a power sander to save my hand, but there's sometimes those angles that I just can't get into and then I just have to go back in and hand sand. So I'm thinking that I want to have some chippiness and show some of this color through. So I'm just going to use another one of these little votives that I thrifted. Hey, I've still got quite a few left, and it's just candle wax. That's all you need. So I'm just going to go ahead and rub the candle wax on this piece. For this piece, I'm just doing that same classic flour sack color. And if you notice when I'm putting it on, this has been sitting since I did the other pieces, so it's a little bit on this thicker side, so I can put it on a little bit heavier. So it actually chipped a lot more than I was expecting, but I put candle wax on it, so maybe I shouldn't have done that. So I'm going to go ahead and seal this in with some weather defense before chipping the chips off. And hopefully that I'm kind of trying to glue some of the chips on there with clear coat is really what I'm trying to do, because I'm not sure I want that much of the original piece showing. I'm just taking my Cricut scraper, and I already kind of know that, oh, well, I'm not sure that I like that color, that much of the color showing through, you know. So I'll go ahead and chip it off, and you know what? Nobody says you can't paint right over that. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. I don't really care for the color poking through, so I'll just get all the chips scraped off, get it cleaned up, and then we'll put another coat of Sweet Pickens flour sack on and see what happens. Okay, that is much better. It's not completely chipping off though. I'm just going to start waxing it, and whatever chips off when I wax it, it'll be. So I'm going to start off with the clear wax first because I don't want to darken up my white paint, but I do want to seal in my milk paint. So go ahead with a nice brush, big brush, and whatever, like I said, whatever chips off, chips off. I should just get minimal, 10% maybe chipping off. It was just too much before. So get it all clear waxed first, and then I'll come in with the aging wax, which will really pop the cracking and the crazing and all that little chippiness. So you know I wasn't going to pass these two boards up, just two plain painted boards. And of course I could envision making them into some type of sign. And yep, they're already painted, they just need some cleaned up, but I'm going to actually repaint these. I'm not really a fan of that grayish white color, and they do have some staining on them from just sitting around collecting dust. I'm going for a salvage look, so a crisp paint job is not what I'm going for at all. So I'm going to start with some 80 grit sandpaper and see what's underneath this paint, which looks like there's some yellow paint underneath the white paint. So I thought it would be fun to go totally opposite of the white, and with that yellow being a third color in there, we're going to go for Artichoke. I just recently picked this color. I've not used this color before, and I'm super excited to see how it turns out. I'm still going for the chippy aged look. I want you to be able to see the white, the yellow, whatever came off. So I am going to do a layer of candle wax. So now I just went to my Cricut, just picked out a font, found some fun inspiration off of Pinterest of some signs that I thought people would want to buy. The nice thing about doing a chippy paint is you don't have to have full coverage on the boards, but yep, I just sized them appropriate to what the size of the board was. And now I'm just going to go ahead and weed it out, cut my stencil out. I just cut it out on some vinyl. When I do a stencil, I like to cut in the stencil as close as I can to the lettering. It just helps me really even out, be able to lay my grid transfer tape on top. It really is all about being able to transfer it from the vinyl, the transfer tape onto the board and do it evenly. Instead of paint, I'm going to go ahead and use IOD's black ink. That ink is going to grab onto that milk paint, and it's actually going to give it more of a faded look, which is exactly what I'm going for. Now here's the scary part, or it could be scary, knowing that my vinyl is going to be picking off a lot of that paint, but I was really going for an aged look on these signs, not a crisp paint job, not a brand new sign. I wanted it to be an aged sign, so that ink is perfect for this. The vinyl is picking off all where that wax was, and it's not everybody's look, but these signs do sell really well for me when I can make them very aged. The parts that didn't have any of the vinyl or any transfer tape that pulled it up, I'll just take some masking tape and see if I can get any of it to pull off. If not, I still can take my scraping tool and distress it a little bit more. Love that I have the 3 colors of paint showing, the black ink, and now I'm just going to seal my milk paint in, just clear wax. I don't want to darken anything up. I'm loving on the colors. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and did I inspire you? Do you have that pile laying in your stash of junk that just needs to be cleaned up, just needs to have a little bit, it's good, but it needs to be a little bit better to add into somebody's home decor? So give me a quick comment down below. Which of the items I made over today were your favorites, and do you have that type of stash that needs to be made over? So again, thanks for watching today's video. As always, if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you're new and you're checking out this channel for the first time and you liked what you saw and you're not part of our YouTube family, please hit that subscription button along with the notification bell so you know when I've uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what we're up to. Bye.